नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्दस्सा नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्दस्सा नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्दस्सा. So today we are going to take again a series of question and answers. So this is Majjhima Nikaya 43. It is the greater series of questions and answers. This is Mahāvedalla Sutta. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jetha's grove, Anathapindika's path. Then, when it was evening, Venerable Mahākoṭṭhika rose and from meditation and went to the Venerable Sāriputta and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and said to the Venerable Sāriputta. So, Mahākoṭṭhika is also a Arahant. Sāriputta is also an Arahant. And they are very well regarded senior Arahants. So, why is one Arahant asking another Arahant questions? So, one of the reasons could be that with Mahākoṭṭhika, his disciples or his students are there. Okay, so he takes his students to another monk and asks questions, and through this question answers, the students benefit. So many suttas have been clearly mentioned that with him, so many students have gone over there, and the question answers happened, and at the end, so many students became awakened or something like that. In this, you need a fan over here. It's hot. पंखा कहाँ पे है? एक ही है. अच्छा. वही रखो फिर थोड़ा तो कुछ होगा. So that could be the reason why this may be a question answer session must be there. So there is a lot of topics which is covered. One who is unwise is said friend. With reference to what is this said? One who is unwise. One does not wisely understand. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is said one who is unwise. And what doesn't one wisely understand? One does not wisely understand. This is suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the origin of suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is a cessation of suffering. One does not wisely understand. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One does not wisely understand. One does not wisely understand, friend. That is why it is one who is unwise. So, the basis of freedom is to know the reality. Reality is knowing the problem and solution. So, what is the problem? That there is dukkha. What is the reason for that problem? Is there is craving. What is the solution? Letting go of the craving. And what is the path or the process for that? That is the eightfold path. So that is the person who knows what is the reality. Saying, good friend, the Venerable Mahākoṭṭhika delighted and rejoiced in Venerable Sāriputta's word. Then he asked a further question. One who is wise is said friend. With reference to what is this said? One who is wise. One wisely understands, friend. That is why it is said one who is wise. What does one wisely understand? One wisely understands this is suffering. One wisely understands this is the origin of suffering. One wisely understands this is the cessation of suffering. Oh, I'm sorry. हाँ, घूमेगा क्या? तो वहां पे रखो साइड में. उधर उनको इन लोगों को दीजिए क्योंकि उन लोगों को और तकलीफ होगी. One wisely understands this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. One wisely understands, friend. That is why it is said one who is wise. So in many of the teachings of the Buddha, there is wise wisdom. When they are mentioning, Bhante says that when it is mentioned, there is mention of four noble truths. You can see that four noble truth is also linked to the dependent origination. So there is ignorance. There is a reason for the ignorance. There is a cessation of ignorance, and there is a way leading to the cessation of ignorance. So, and this is also linked to the three characteristics. The characteristic is the reality. It is the impermanence. So because it is dependently originated, it is not personal. So it is impersonal because it's a process. And it is also our resistance to something which creates. So that is the three things which we are not knowing. Then we are said to be unwise. But if we are knowing this and we are able to operate from that construct, then we are able to be effective. Huh? See, Buddha is also an arahant. So, okay, so Buddha is considered to be somebody who has self or reached a level of understanding. Okay, so there are three kinds of Buddha. One is a Pacheka Buddha, somebody who has no teacher, but he self kind of investigates. With his self investigation, becomes an awakened person. So that is called Pacheka Buddha. Then there is Sammasam Buddha. Sammasam Buddha does the same thing, but he teaches others. And then there is a Savaka Buddha. Savaka Buddha is somebody who listens to the Buddha's teaching and becomes an Arahant. Okay, so all three are Arahants, which is the who have given up the cravings, but one has done it on his own, but has not taught. One has done it on his own, but teaches, like Gautama Buddha or Sakyamuni Buddha. And the third category is the people who listen to him and become awakened. So any of us can become Savaka Buddhas. No, all Arhants are not Buddhas. So that's a logic question. Yeah. There is nothing missing. See, the process of becoming awakened makes the three categories of Buddha. But the awakening which is there of a Pachika Buddha, a Sammasam Buddha, and a Savaka Buddha are the same. The quality of release, quality of kind of the awakening is the same. No, Arahant is, can be said to be Savaka Buddha. Savaka Buddha, which is who has listened to the teaching and become a Buddha. Consciousness is said, friend. With reference to what is consciousness said? It cognizes, friend. That is why consciousness is said. So when we are talking about consciousness, the Buddha is giving a very kind of a practical explanation of consciousness. It cognizes. So when we say recognize, we are recognizing. Okay, we have seen something and then we recognize. So anything which is there, naming which, or not the exact naming, but knowing which is there, which happens. That is the work of the consciousness which is there. And what does it cognize? It cognizes this is pleasant. It cognizes this is painful. It cognizes this is neither painful nor pleasant. It cognizes, and that is why consciousness is said. So consciousness in the Buddha's teaching is very practical. It is related to a sense organ, and its job is to just know this is painful, this is pleasurable, this is neither painful nor pleasurable. Wisdom and consciousness, friend, are these states co-joined or disjointed? And is it possible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them? Wisdom and consciousness, friend, these states are co-joined, not disjointed. It is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. For what one wisely understands, sorry, I just lost. For what one wisely understands, that one cognizes it, and what one cognizes, that wisely understands. So if you are not able to cognize something, you cannot understand. Okay, and by doing that only your understanding grows. So cognition and wisdom are linked, and they are always together. That is why these states are cojoined, not disjointed, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the other in order to describe the difference between them. What is the difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness? So they are together and they are always together, but what is the difference between them? The difference, friend, between wisdom and consciousness, these states that are cojoined, not disjointed, is this: wisdom is to be developed, and consciousness has to be fully understood. Okay, so when you are doing meditation, you are understanding how this thing is that. Are you doing? By the observation. When you observe, you understand. I have given this example many times. There are many sciences where the science is just about observation. Like when you go and say the science of birds, which are there. Huh? So now, whatever information you have to get, it is through observation. They live like this, they eat this, and they migrate over here and there. You all do it through observation. So that is what we are doing is through understanding, fully understanding by observation of consciousness. But the wisdom has to be developed. Well, wisdom has to be developed because we have to put the our understanding into effect. Like we see the impermanence, we see our resistance, we see the impersonality in what is arising, what is passing away, what is happening, our resistance to things which are there. If the mind is busy, how are we behaving? If the mind is calm, how are we behaving? All these things have to be developed. So the wisdom has to be developed. Yes.
Knowing and understanding.
See, knowing is maybe theoretical, and when you kind of go a little deeper and you understand, okay, this is the way it is there. So I know there is impermanence which is there. But when certain times when you are in meditation, you see the impermanence, and they say, oh, this is. But you haven't talked about impermanence 100 times, or you see the impersonality, and they say, oh, now I understand the personality which is there. So certain times that knowing which is there is the wisdom which you develop, in the practice.
Understanding as a feeling.
Huh. So understanding has a certain amount of depth to it.
You understand how to ride a bike. You understand how to ride a bike.
And then you know it.
I explain.
No?
Right?
But like, for example, you know all the sutta, like the Buddha say, that some people they just might know all the verse, but then they're not in the way because they don't understand it.
Correct.
They don't impersonify it.
Correct. Implementing that teaching and making it real is the kind of the benefit of it. If you just know the words, then it does not help, because then you have to understand this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Thought, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So when words, you can also understand intellectually, yet you may not embody. So these are the feeling. Yeah. So for understanding the technique, mind, it's not embodying. So that's why realizing. This has multiple levels. You may know something. So you can just feel everything.
So the realizing is kind of seeing and knowing. So you see that and then you realize.
There are three words.
Yeah. So what we are talking about is experiential wisdom, because when we are seeing in our practice, that is when we experience it. Feeling is said, friend. With reference to what is feeling said? It feels, friend. That is why feeling is said. What does it feel? It feels pleasure. It feels pain. It feels neither pain nor pleasure. So the feeling has only this thing about pleasure, painful, or neither painful nor pleasure. So this is not emotion. Okay, emotions are something which happens again and again. The thoughts which are there, when certain thoughts pile up, in that sense that there's a recurring thoughts of pleasure, then you say I'm in a good mood. If you are recurring thoughts of kind of anger, then you are say I'm in an angry mood, or I'm feeling angry today. So when that is repeated again and again, that becomes a mood or the feelings. But over here, this is just the realization of the sensation which is happening, which is, can be painful, it can be pleasurable, or neither painful nor pleasurable. Perception is said, friend, with reference to what is perception said. It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said. What does it perceive? It perceives blue, it perceives yellow, it perceives red, it perceives white. It perceives, friend. That is why perception is said. So perceptions, the word is to use, is to naming things. And to name things, you need to have a history. Okay, you see something, if you see something which you have never seen in the life, then you will not be able to name it. Certain times you cannot find it also. If there are certain puzzles and all these things which is there, you can look at that puzzle, but you will miss the thing. But somebody says over there is a cat over there in that picture, and then you look at it, oh, here is the cat. So that is, or you have some words which is there and say there is and over here, there are two ands over here, not one, because we are not perceiving that, because we have no kind of realization over there. And certain times, one story which I like is about the ships which were sailing towards Hawaii. So this was some ships were sailing, and the natives over there. There were two shamans who used to go to kind of pray at the shore, ocean shore. So they saw something was there in the distance, but they could not understand what was there. They could not see the ships, but they understood the ocean, and they said that the waves which are there is not correct. So they would go next day and they say that these waves which are there, these waves are okay, but over here the waves are not correct, because they knew the ocean, so they knew the waves. They did not know, they could not see the ship. Then somebody said, "Let us see what is there up above the this thing." And then they concentrated on the above the waves, where they found it was not doing right. That they could see the ship, because they had no perception of a ship. So even though the ship was in the horizon, they could not name it or kind of realize it. So that is how perception has history also in it. So at certain times, perception has a personal history. So somebody will have sweet and say it is very good. Somebody will have sweet and say it is very bad. So that sweet remains the sweet. Our organs and everything remains the same, but our experience of that changes, because there is a history behind that, and that perception is naming that at that point of time. Feeling, perception, and consciousness, man. Are these states co-joined or disjointed? We have discussed this. Is it possible to separate each of these states from others in order to describe the difference between them? Feeling, perception, and consciousness, man. These states are co-joined, not disjointed. And it is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. For what one feels, that one perceives. What one perceives, that one cognizes. That is why these states are co-joined, not disjointed. It is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. So we have seen this in the cessation of perception and feeling. So there is no consciousness also. We can also say cessation of perception, feeling, and consciousness. But normally, traditionally, which is said is cessation of perception and feeling. But if there any one is not there, other two are not there. All have to be together. Friend, what can be known by purified mind consciousness released from five faculties? What are the five faculties? Our eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. So that is what can we know. That is what is the state of mind when we are released from the five faculties in meditation, when we are not having the body and the five faculties. Huh? Formless, correct. Arupa jhana, formless jhana. Friend, by purified mind consciousness released from the five faculties, the base of infinite space can be known thus. Space is infinite. The base of infinite consciousness can be known thus. Consciousness is infinite. The base of nothingness can be known thus. There is nothing. So one thing is missing over here. which has not been mentioned, which is neither perception nor non-perception. Okay, that has not been mentioned because it is such a fine state that you cannot say we are perceiving it, we cannot say we are not perceiving it. It is a kind of a very fine state which is there. From with what does one understand a state that can be known? So any state which is there, what is the tool we are using to know that? Friend, one understand a state that can be known with the eye of wisdom. So we have discussed this eye of wisdom. Okay, panya chakku or chakku panya, something panya chakku. Huh? Chakku yan.
No, that's a different one.
Uh-huh. Panya chakku is like wisdom, eye of wisdom. So through the faculty of wisdom, we observe everything. So it is not a duality. Your mind has a part of it. The mind is able to observe wisdom and has wisdom in it. Through that part of that mind, we are observing the mind. So from the mind itself, we are observing the functioning of the mind. Okay. So that is how we can know the states that can be known. Friend, what is the purpose of wisdom? The purpose of wisdom, friend, is direct knowledge. So as he was pointing out, that experiential knowledge. That is the purpose of wisdom is itself to have the direct knowledge. Its purpose is full understanding. So when we are seeing in our practice how the things are coming and going, we fully understand it. Okay, its purpose is abandoning. So when we have something which is a poison, then we know, fully understand it. We kind of know it. It is poison. Then what are we going to do? We are going to abandon it. So we are not going to drink it. So that is when we kind of change our behavior. Before that, we cannot change our behavior because then we say we'll just try it or aaj chalta hai. Yeah? Today it will okay. It's okay. We'll do it. But when you are fully understanding, then we don't we really abandon it. Friend, how many conditions are there for the arising of right view? Right view is the start of everything, you know. I told you that right view is there, right intention happens, right speech happens, right kind of action happens, right livelihood happens, right practice happens, or right efforts, mindfulness and concentration. All that happens. So, what is important? Everything happens through right view. But how does right view come about? From there are two conditions for the arising of right view. The voice of another. What is this voice? Whose voice is this? Buddha's voice. So the voice of another is Buddha. But there is also one other condition. Okay? And wise attention. So the voice coming from here, maybe Buddha's voice, but from there you need wise attention. If you are not giving wise attention, it is not going to work. Friend, by how many factors is right view assisted when it has deliverance of mind for its fruit, deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit, when it has deliverance by wisdom for its fruit, deliverance by wisdom for its fruit and benefit. So when we are doing this practice, and the aim is to abandon the unwholesome things which are there in our thing. So what are the things assisting it? What are the factors which assist the right view and keep it going? Friend, right view is assisted by 5 factors. When it has deliverance of mind for its fruit and deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. Here, friend, right view is assisted by virtue. Virtue is the precepts which you take. Okay, doing the right things or not doing the wrong things. So that is the virtue. So one thing, all of this is there in this retreat. We'll find all of this in the retreat. One is virtue. Second is learning. What is the learning happening? We give the instructions, we read the suttas. That is happening over here. We start with the precepts in the morning. We start with the learning, guided meditations. All of these things are the learnings which are there. Discussion. Discussion is what? This question and answers. We discuss subjects. Okay. That is also the part of the practice. Now the third is samatha, serenity. Okay. So when you are doing the practice, what happens? You do it, relax, smile, you let go of hindrances. What happens is you become serene. Okay, that is samatha. You create samatha, and through that, what is created? Vipassana. Correct. So then insight. So that is the 5 things which are required, and these are all there over here in this retreat. So precepts are there, learning is there, discussion is there, samatha is there, vipassana is there. So all of these things which are there is available in this retreat. Right view assisted by these 5 factors has deliverance of mind for its fruit and deliverance of mind for its fruit and benefit. Friend, how many kinds of being are there? So how many kinds of beings are there? We have discussed this. There are these 3 kinds of being: sense sphere being, fine material being, and immaterial being. Immaterial being are the beings here in the Arupa Jana Loka. They are the immaterial being. Friend, how is renewal of being in the future generated? How is the being generated in the future? Friend, renewal of being in the future is generated through the delighting in this and that on the part of the being who are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. So they because of not knowing, they do certain things and then they want some things. Because they don't know that this is poison, they want that glass. I want to consume it because they don't know that is poison. That is how that thing is continuously going. Friend, how is renewal of being in the future not generated? Friend, with the fading away of ignorance, with the arising of true knowledge, and with the cessation of craving, renewal of being in the future is not generated. Okay, so when we are understanding this, okay, then we are letting go of the ignorance, and true knowledge is arising, and there is no craving. When there is no craving, then there is no renewal.
This doesn't seem that
Hmm.
then why we have less like every time you speak you don't know if this is possible in this life, but maybe some other time. But when somebody goes for Olympics, they don't say like if this is possible in this life. There is a robust training, there is like program people go through with the belief, yes, you are going to get it.
Yes.
Until you don't get it, okay.
But one of the thing is that not everybody can be trained for Olympics.
Yes, but there should be enough number of arhants to see, because right now I just like a Buddha. But in my life now that I'm alive, I want to see arhant. Like I'm not aiming for Buddha, which is I mean he is real and what he taught was true. But here is the fruit of that. Let's say when we see other arhants, right?
See,
Why that is.
one of the things is that Buddha has said, which is also kind of very this thing at the time of the Buddha, when Buddha was also considering, he said, "Oh, many people have dust in their eyes." So that means that there is a lot of things which are there in the eyes of the people. The perception is clouded. As I told you, that if I keep on putting dust on my specs, I will not be able to see. But if I try cleaning it, then I can be able to do that. So that both of the things are very easy to happen. So one of the things is that maybe when we are distracted or there are certain things which we are not prepared for, then those things may also be a karmic balance. How much karma points you have to kind of accumulate to be coming in such a retreat. So you may have kind of accumulated those karma points, and then after coming over here, so are you giving wise attention? Certain times the Buddha was there for many times, but they did not come because they said, "Oh, their shop is there, my this thing is there, I have some work." They did not come. So then, when the Buddha was going into Parinibbana, he came. One person comes and says, "Oh, Buddha, teach me because I did not come because I was busy with my shop." So that is also happens. So that time, wise attention is also required, and to have the wise attention, you should have a certain amount of uh, craving or the certain amount of kind of the desire to be knowing. So one of the things the Buddha says is when you have dukkha, there are two ways you go. One is you distract yourself, and second is you ask questions that what is the solution for this dukkha? I want to know some kind of thing. So when you have that arising, then you come. So we not know like only a Buddha would know what is the situation of each person's karmic energy or whatever is there. But the process is simple in that sense. It is, but one of the things my teacher used to say, Bhante Dhammagavesi used to say, is that the hindrances are not strong, because you can 6 hours and it goes away, huh? But they are very persistent. So one of the things is, like, if I get a thought of I'll have ice cream, I will have ice cream, I'll have ice cream. Then you say, I think I have this, I need to have ice cream. And then you open your app and then you see while scrolling, you see somebody having ice cream. Ah, this is a divine sign. I have to have ice cream. And you have ice cream. So then you believe that whatever is coming up, So that persistence which is there, also we have to persistently be, that is the repetition was there, no? Yesterday, how do you develop this repetition, development, cultivation? That repetition, development, cultivation is the hindrance, the being away from distractions and all these things. So maybe there are times where this is more easier, maybe there are times when they are more difficult. But the effectiveness of the teaching remains all the time. It is not related to time. Yes. Correct. Yeah, and then you don't have to chase that learning. You can just do it in the present. Whatever is coming, present, present, present. Whatever comes, I can deal with the maybe the warmth or the heat which is there currently in the room. I can deal with the maybe the sound which is coming from the passing vehicles. I can deal with the food which is maybe not as per my liking or something like that. That each time you can do it, so you don't have to chase it and make it into a big thing. When you kind of take care of the present, the future will take care of itself. Okay? Yes.
The four noble truths are just like in front of us, right? There is no particular right now.
Mhm.
The ignorance gets refreshed every moment. Moment something happens, the ignorance is in. It's almost like a new layer, right? And you have forgotten right away. You can wash the sand castle
Correct.
knowledge. That's very good.
That's also, yeah.
I want to say that even though it may seem difficult, there are arhats today in this world. There are animamis today in this world. It's like animamis, Sotapanas. There are people who have awakened and are awake, living and walking on this earth. We can learn from them. We have the teachings of Buddha. They remain. We can learn from them. This is something we can all do. This is something that's available to all of us. So do your best.
Possible in this life.
So that is one. Henry Ford, I think so, said that if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are always right. Yes. Huh? No, no. See, one of the suttas where this is clarified is anagamis householders can become anagamis, but it is not that. See, householders and monks and nuns, like lay women, laymen, monks and nuns, all can become sotapannas, saktakami, and anagamis. But they can also only monks and nuns have been mentioned as being arahants. Okay, but there are certain instances, special cases where a lay person can also be a arahant. Okay, so wherever there in the suttas where lay person has been an arahant, has been on the deathbed. So one is Suddhodana, who is Buddha's father. So 7 days before he was going to pass away, he became an arahant. Then there is one other lay person, and he is being taught by another lay person on the deathbed. And they go to the Buddha and say, "What is the fate of this person?" So the Buddha said he had become an arahant, as much of an arahant as any of my arahant disciples. So a lay person can also become arahant, but in special case, which is on deathbed.
There is
Or the
less
process.
hope for
Huh?
lay people. There's less hope for us.
No. See, even an anagami is a very big thing. So one of the things about anagami is that if you are an anagami, you can become an arahant on the deathbed, as I mentioned. You can become an arahant at the time of the death, at the process of the death. As soon as the death process has been over and the consciousness has not reached the Brahma Loka, so they can, in between itself, they can become an arahant. Or when they touch the Brahma Loka, at the touching of the Brahmaloka, they become an arahant. They can become an arahant in a short period of time. They can become an arahant in a medium period of time. They can become an arahant in a long period of time. So that long period can be millions and maybe billions of years also. But it is a very pleasant space over there in the Brahmaloka. So there are 5 Brahmalokas. So somebody will kind of be in 2 Brahmalokas or 3 Brahmalokas, and somebody will be on the all 5 Brahmalokas, and then after that he will become an arahant. So one of the things about the sharing of merit which we do, in the sharing of merit, what we do is we say the Nagas are there. They are, I said Arhant, they are called Arhant. So one explanation by the commentaries is that these are the Arhants who become Arhants in the Brahmaloka. Okay? That is non-written realm where they are not returning as a human, and they have some time left, so they can also be protective in the shasana. So they will have a interest in protecting the Buddha shasana or the teaching of the Buddha. So that is how this works.
Or you can become more after you become an agami.
Huh. Yes, that is also possible. Yeah. So the instances where there are said to be anagamis, layperson who have not become monks are, there are one instance in, I think, Kasapa Buddha is there, whose disciple is, I think, huh? Gatikara. So he's a potter. Huh. He's a potter. His mothers and father are blind. So to support him, he does not ordain. Then in the time of the Buddha, there is one other lay person. I don't remember the name of that also. You
Chitta.
Chitta. He also has to take care of his mother and father. So those are the instances where an anagami may not decide to become a monk. He has some family responsibility or something other. Anagami means, okay, I'll go through the whole this 4 stages of awakening. Now there are 10 things which are fettering us or holding us to this samsara. So when you are becoming a sotapanna or a stream enterer, you are giving up 3 things. Okay, one thing is that the doubt in the teaching you give up. You are now sure that if I continue doing this, I will reach the awakened state. So you don't have doubt in the teaching. Okay, then you have given up you have given up rites and rituals. So you know that by rites and rituals you cannot reach the awakening stage. So by kind of dipping in a water or giving flowers or something like that, that is not the process of, or maybe fasting or something like that. Although there are many rites and rituals. Through rites and rituals, there can be some benefit of rites and rituals, but the benefit of rites and rituals as an awakening tool you have given up. Now the third is you get insight into the impersonal nature of things. So you see that not having been, it comes into being; having been, it vanishes. Known they were, they arose. Known they stayed, and known they vanished. Now the known thing is you are watching them. So known I created is not that, no. So if you see this arising and passing away, then you are aware that it is not me who is creating, who is sustaining, or who is making it go. So you are only observer. That time you know the impersonal nature, but that does not mean you have given up the ego completely, because ego is there in the, there is one other stage also where you will see there is ego. So now these 3 things have been given up. Now there is one other kind of in between stage the Buddha is saying is 2 to 3 lifetimes as a lay person. Now that is a in between the 2 stages. The other stage is Sakadagami. Okay, before that, the Buddha has one of the sutras. He says that you can be coming to only 2 or 3 births and becoming awakening, or then the next stage is some 2 things become weak. So you have given up those 3 things. Now two things become weak. Now what are the two things? Which is lust is there and aversion is there. So the peaks are not there, but there certain times you get kind of caught up in lust, certain times you get caught up in aversion, but they have become weaker than normal. So one of the examples is that there is one Sakadagami who comes to the Buddha, and he is asking the Buddha that I have understood the teaching, but I am still getting caught up. So then the Buddha says that I don't remember exactly, but that concept that led the question itself was because he was a Sakadagami. So he was weakened this, but he was still getting caught. So that practice was still to remain. So now what happens is, as your practice kind of accelerates, then you give up the lust and you give up the aversion. Now, when that is the stage which the lay person Veshakha was there in, then he came home and said, I cannot stay as husband and wife. You can stay as brother and sister if you want to. So that is the stage where you have given all kind of lust and aversion. One other way the Buddha is explaining that stage of an anagami is that he can be given the royal food. Huh? And he will not be attracted to her or get attached to it. He can be given a king's kind of the feast, but he is not attracted because now that thing about attraction is not there. Aversion is not there. Somebody can come and kind of say something to him, but he will not have any reaction. But there are some 5 things which are there, which are very subtle things, which are still holding him on to samsara. Now, one is called something he wants to become in the human realm. So he may want to become maybe have psychic abilities or something like that. So or he wants to have certain things as a human identity. Then there is something you want to become in a deva realm. The kind of maybe there is a desire to become born in a Brahma Loka. That is a subtle thing is there. Now there is restlessness which is there. So restlessness as a hindrance which is there is still there in a anagami. Then there is Ditthimana. Ditthimana is some faint ego. So there is one very interesting sutta where they are teaching this. There is a anagami, and then some monks come and ask him that what is the level of Ditthimana you have. So then he thinks about it and says that it is like say you buy a very white cloth, fresh cloth from the market, and you put it in the mud, okay, and you kind of soil it, but then you clean the cloth in a very nice way, using whatever the methods are there. But the white clothes will still have certain stain if it is put against the new cloth. So there will be some color discoloration which is there. That is the amount of ego is left for an anagami. So it's a very faint ego, but that is so. One of the ways you can see is that when Anuruddha goes to Sāriputta and says that I can know 10,000 world systems, but I am still not become a arahant. So he can see 10,000 world systems, but he has not become a. So then Sāriputta says that your statement that I can see is also your ego that you have to give. Yes. Restlessness is also a part of the mind which is there, which becomes too much energy. So that is still there in the anaga. So then, while explaining this ego aspect, this anagami becomes an arahant. So it can be very subtle. So just knowing his this subtle attachment also, he was able to give it up. And then there is a last one thing which is remaining. I told you 4. What is the one thing which remains? Guess? Huh? Ignorance. Very good. That is the thing which goes in the last, ignorance. So that is still keeping him. So there is certain things which is he does not know.
But how come?
For an anagami,
No, I mean, the ignorance goes by the 4th noble truth, right? And it starts.
there is certain amount of things which is not understood. So they are why does he want to become something in the human realm or the deva realm? Why is there restlessness? Why is there ditthimana? No, some things has not been understood. So it's a levels are there. So then when he gives up ignorance, an anagami becomes an arahant. Okay. So it was a kind of very big detour. So there is about the first jhana. We have gone through first jhana a few times, so I'm not repeating. So first jhana, there are 5 things which are there, 5 things which are given up. Then there are about the fourth jhana also. Fourth jhana also what and the arupa jhana. So this is about the all the faculties which are there: eye, ear, nose. So the 5 faculties. Friend, these 5 faculty each have a separate field, a separate domain. Do not experience each other field and domain. That is the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, and the body faculty. Now, these 5 faculties, each having a separate field, a separate domain, not experiencing each other's field and domain. What is their result? What experiences their fields and domains? So there is all these faculties are there, but there is certain things which is a central point. Friend, these 5 faculties each have a separate field, a separate domain, and do not experience each other's field and domain. Have mind as their resort, and mind experiences their fields and domains. So when you see the eye and there is a contact and the feeling is there, that feeling is happening in the mind. Okay, so that is a kind of a CPU where everything happens. Friend, as to these 5 faculties, that is the eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue faculty, body faculty. What do these 5 faculties stand on dependence on? So what is sustaining them? What are they standing on dependence on? These 5 faculties stand in dependence on vitality. Vitality is like prana, chi, okay, or ayu, okay. So the ayu is the life energy. You can say you can ayu is also used in Hindi also, no? So ayu is there. There is prana, chi. So this is the life energy based on which this are standing. So it also has karmic energy also. So based on your karmic energy, you come up with a bank balance of that number of years you are going to live over here. So that is how you come. Friend, what does vitality stand on dependence on? Vitality stands in dependence on heat. The heat or ushma. So that is what it stands on dependent on. So now what happens is that when you are alive, you can see that when you touch yourself, what you feel is a temperature. Okay, that temperature is there, is a part of the living process which is there. So there is the 5 faculties is dependent on the vitality. Vitality is dependent on the heat. Okay, friend, what does heat stand in dependence on? Heat stand in dependence on vitality. So again, this is interdependent. Okay, one does not create the other, but they are interdependent, which are there. So we had gone through that process a few times over now. Just now, friend, we understand the Venerable Sāriputta to have said vitality stands in dependence on heat. And now we understand him to say heat stand in dependence on vitality. How should the meaning of this statement be regarded? In that case, friend, I shall give you a simile. For some wise men here understand the meaning of a statement by means of a simile. Just as when an oil lamp is burning, its radiance is seen in dependence on its flame, and its flame is seen in dependence on its radiance. So too, vitality stands in dependence on heat, and heat stands in dependence on its vitality. So when there is a oil lamp is there, okay. So when there is a kind of the lamp is there, the flame is there, and the light is there. So they can be said to be interdependent because of the heat which is there. There is burning is there, and we can see this because there is light. If there is no heat, there is no light. There is no light, we cannot see this. So that is interdependent on that. So that's the reason vitality and heat is interdependent. Friend, are vital formations things that can be felt, or vital formation one thing and things that can be felt another? So vitality is that the ayu is there, chi is there, prana is there. Can it be kind of felt? Vital formation, friends, are not things that can be felt. If vital formations were things that can be felt, then a student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling would not seem to emerge from it, because vital formations are one thing, things that can be felt another. A student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling can be seen to emerge from it. So when it is going, there is no consciousness. If there is no consciousness, there is no feeling. When there is no feeling, then if it was based on feeling, then there is no coming back from that state. Friend, when this body is bereft of how many states, it is then discarded, forsaken, left lying senseless like a log. So then, when this is the body, when it is alive, it is useful. But when it is not, then it is kind of discarded. So that is what they are trying to say. So what are the things it should not have for it to be considered dead in that sense? Friend, when this body is bereft of the three states, vitality, heat, and consciousness, it is then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a log. Friend, what is the difference between one who is dead, who has completed his time, and a student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling? So now there are two people lying beside one another. Okay, one has gone into cessation and one is dead. Now, what is the difference between those two people? Huh? No, I will go through that. Okay, friend. In case of one who is dead, who has completed his time, his bodily formations have ceased and subsided. His verbal formations have ceased and subsided. His mental formations have ceased and subsided. His vitality is exhausted. Means his vitality is finished. Huh? His heat has been dissipated. Means his heat has gone away from his body. Okay, when you touch a dead person, you see it's cold. And his faculties are fully broken. So he cannot see, hear, no faculties are working. It is fully broken. In the case of a student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling, his bodily formations have ceased and subsided. His verbal formations have ceased and subsided. His mental formations have ceased and subsided. So there is no mental activity which is there in a person who is in cessation. But his vitality is not exhausted. So the prana, chi or ayu is still there. His heat has not been dissipated. So the heat has not been exhausted or dissipated. And his faculties become exceptionally clear. So when you come out of this state, you can see colors which are brighter. You can hear sounds which are kind of crisper. You can have more this thing. So one experience somebody had was like when they were walking, they could feel that they are walking through air. Or normally we don't have experience of air. So that is how that experience can feel. This is the difference between one who is dead, who has completed his time, and a student who has entered upon the cessation of perception and feeling, deliverance of mind. Friend, how many conditions are there for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind? So these are kind of different states of you can go and again release. So there are different modalities which are there. Then there are certain practices which are different ways of doing it. So sometimes they are different, sometimes they are same. Or the way one way to look at it is different, one way to look at it is same. Friend, there are these four conditions for the attainment of the neither painful nor pleasant deliverance of mind. So this is the state of mind which is called the fourth jhana. Okay, neither painful nor pleasant. So we are not going into the technical details of that. We have gone through few times. Friend, how many conditions are there for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind? Signless deliverance is also a way of saying that there is no signs. So it can be said to be something which is very similar to the nothingness which is there, because there are no signs which are there. Wherever there's something arises, you relax and let them go. Signless deliverance of mind. And then this also there is nothingness is also there. So there is signless is also a way of practice. So you don't pay attention to any signs and symptoms. Okay, like I see a cup, but I don't look at the shape or something like that. So I say this is without any shape, or I don't name it as cup. I can see the stand, but I don't name it because I'm not seeing the signs of that thing. So that's a different practice which was there. Friend, there are these two conditions for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind. Non-attention to all signs, okay, and attention to the signless element. So you are not paying attention to any signs, but you are paying attention to the signless element which is there. There are the two conditions for the attainment of the signless deliverance of mind. So there are these two conditions which are there. So the signless attainment, in my understanding, which is a limited understanding, is maybe after reaching higher jhanas, you do this practice because it requires a lot of collectedness of mind. Okay, you can see this but not name it. Means that it could be working at the level of perception. So you are able to see something but not perceiving it as a tree or perceiving it as cup or perceiving it as a road. So everything which arises is just seen as the signless which is there. So that could be a practice, but in my understanding, it could be at the level of perception. This is being worked. Friend, how many conditions are there for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind? So how do we keep it going in the signless? Friend, there are the three conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. Non-attention to all signs, attention to the signless element, and the prior determination of the duration. These are the three conditions for the persistence of the signless deliverance of mind. So this is saying that how much time you will stay in that practice, and that is also determined. And that time, when the practice time is over, then you will be able to come out of it. Friend, how many conditions are there for the emergence from the signless deliverance of mind? Friend, there are two conditions for emergence from the signless deliverance of mind: attention to all signs and non-attention to the signless deliverance. So you are now paying attention to sign and not paying attention to signless, and then you are coming into out of that state. Friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind. So what is immeasurable deliverance of mind? What is immeasurable in our practice? Brahma Viharas, very good. So Brahma Viharas is immeasurable. There is no kind of limits we put. So it cannot be measured how far it is going. It can be going to the end of the universe also. We don't know. We are just keeping ourselves open for it. Friend, immeasurable deliverance of mind through nothingness. So when we are going into the nothingness thing which we are going, the deliverance of mind through voidness. Now voidness is also a specific practice which is there. Now this voidless practice could be seeing everything devoid of self. See, you see this body, the body is not self. Why? Because it can change on its own. I don't have any control on this body, and I cannot change it. So I don't have the ownership. So one way the Buddha is saying is, even if there is a king which is there of a province, he can order somebody to be imprisoned. He can order somebody to be banished. He can order somebody to be executed. So he has full control on that small country also. So, but that kind of balance, control we don't have of the body. We don't have of the perception or feeling or perception or the sankharas or the thoughts or the consciousness. We don't have that control. That is how one can say this is void of self, this is void. That is can be one way of kind of doing this practice. And the friend, the image and voidness and the signless deliverance of mind. So signless, we explained that the signless where you don't pay attention to any sign. So there are just four things which are there. Are these states different in meaning and different in name, or are they one in meaning, different only in name? So these are the four practices are there. So are they different or they are same? So one way of looking at it is they are same. One way of looking at it is they are different. So that is what this is explained. So I'll just read those things. Friend, the immeasurable deliverance of mind, the deliverance of mind through nothingness, the deliverance of mind through voidness, and the signless deliverance of mind. There is a way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name. And there is a way in which they are one in name and different only in, one in meaning and different only in name. What, friend, is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name? Here, a student abides pervading one quarter of with a mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise, the second. Likewise, the third. Likewise, the fourth. So above, below, around, and everywhere. So, do you recognize these instructions? You send it front, side, back, and up and down, and everywhere. So that is how this practice starts with metta. In the same way, pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. One abides pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with compassion, and then with altruistic joy, then equanimity. So in that way, we are doing this practice. So it starts and it progresses on its own. It changes as our mind state is ready. It can change. And what, friend, is the deliverance of mind through nothingness? Here, with the complete surmounting of the base of infinite consciousness. Aware that there is nothing, a student enters upon and abides in the base of nothingness. This is called the deliverance of mind through nothingness. So when you are in nothingness, you are letting go of everything, everything comes up, you see something, and as soon as that, you relax and let that go. And being in that, the mind gives up. You may go into neither perception or non-perception also in that period of time, but then the mind gives up. And as your mind gives up, you go into the cessation. And what, friend, is deliverance of mind through voidness? Here, a student gone to a forest or to a root of a tree or to an empty hut reflects thus: this is void of self, or what belongs to self. This is called deliverance of mind through voidness. So everything he sees as not self. So you can see that hut and he says there is no self in the hut. He goes into the hut and says this body, everything which comes up is not self. So you can see one practice which is there is also seeing all the thoughts come up and say, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not, did I think this thought? Did I, was I the thinker of the thought? Did I kind of ask this thought to come up? One Zen practice is also something very similar to this, where it is names, is it me, is it me, is it me, the kind of something like that, you know. Like something asking a question, what was my name before I was born, or something like that. So what was the kind of thought before it came? Where was the thought before it came? So it's like saying that there is no self in that thing. So there is one other practice. And what, friend, is the signless deliverance of mind? Here, with non-attention to all signs, a student enters upon and abides in the signless concentration of mind. This is called the signless deliverance of mind. This, there is a note I have not read. I just read that note for the above signless deliverance of mind is identified by the commentaries with the attainment of fruition. For the four deliverance of mind mentioned in this one alone is supermundane. The first three, the Brahma Viharas, the immaterial attainment, and insight into the voidness of formation, all pretend to the mundane. So this is maybe a way of going into supermundane. I am not able to understand. Maybe it is going into a deeper state of mind to kind of know this, the signs which are there, or maybe it is referring to the state of nibbana, and there is no signs, which is the Steiner state of mind, which is there. So maybe this is referring to the process of going into nibbana, which is there. So one of the things Bhante points out is that when coming out of the state of nibbana, they say paying attention to signs, which is not possible, because if the person goes into the nibbanic state, then there is no awareness, is there no consciousness there. So how is somebody paying attention to signs? So that is one kind of, maybe there is something lost in translation over here. So that could be something while transcribing or something like that. Something is lost in translation, but it is okay. So those kind of minor things can happen. But overall, our practice which is there is not related to signless or the other things. So this is okay. And what, friend, is the signless deliverance of mind? Here, with non-attention to all signs, a student enters upon and abides in the signless concentration of mind. This is called the signless deliverance of mind. This is the way in which these states are different in meaning and different in name. So they are different because they are different in meaning and name, because they are different processes through which they are coming in this process. And what, friend, is the way in which these states are one in meaning, different only in name? So how is this common? Lust is a maker of measurement. Hate is a maker of measurement. Delusion is a maker of measurement. In a student whose stains are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump. So there is a palm tree is there. If you cut the top of the palm tree, then it will never grow. So that is how it is cutting out the palm stump. Done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future arising. Of all the kinds of immeasurable deliverance of mind, the unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. Why is it unshakable? Because after this, there is no coming back to the world of ignorance, because there is true knowledge. Now, that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. So, when you are doing Brahma Viharas, with the doing of the Brahma Viharas, you reach the state of mind where this is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. Lust is a something, hate is a something, delusion is a something. In a student whose stains are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, done away with, so that they are no longer subject to future arising. Of all the kinds of deliverance of mind through nothingness, the unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. So, in the nothingness also, you are reaching this state of deliverance of mind, and it is unshakable. Now, that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, and void of delusion. So both the thing has the same result, which is void of lust, hate, and delusion. Lust is a maker of science. Hate is a maker of science. Delusion is a maker of science. In a student whose stains are destroyed, these are abandoned, cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, done away with, so they are no longer subject to future arising. Of all the kinds of signless deliverance of mind, the unshakable deliverance of mind is pronounced the best. So this is coming through signless. So the signless process also, the same thing is coming. Unshakable deliverance. Now that unshakable deliverance of mind is void of lust, void of hate, void of delusion. This is the way in which these states are one in meaning and different only in name. That is what the Venerable Sāriputta said. The Venerable Mahākoṭṭhika was satisfied and delighted in the Venerable Sāriputta's words. So now what has happened is that they are saying that whatever way you choose, you reach at one of the goal. So you choose your kind of lane and stay there, because the end result is the same. Is a giving up of all the attachment which we have kind of made. And all that attachment which we have made is only giving us trouble. Like one of the examples the Buddha gives is a coal. If you are holding on to the coal, whose hand is burning? Your hand is burning. If you give up the coal, where is the healing? You have the healing. Okay, so you are holding on to things which are hurting you, and when you let go of that, let go of the dukkha which is there, then you are in a different mind state. Okay, yes.